Ferry accident in Bali Strait sparks calls to improve Indonesia's maritime safety. About time for that. And slitting open Earth's skin. Mining damages divides Raja Ampat. Stay tuned for details on these and other stories. Selamat pagi. Welcome to the latest news from Bali in Indonesia. This is July 9th, 2025, and my name is Bruce, and I got all the dates right, finally. And what is the weather like today? You know, I don't know, I hate to say this, but it's beautiful. Saying that now, I expect that it'll probably rain later today. It has been rainy, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday, a couple days. Huge floods all over the island and in Lombok as well, and in Java and parts of Java, from what I've heard. We had flooding up here in Singaraja on Jalan Udayana. Wow, there was a lot of water there. But right now, it is 27 degrees, a cool 27 degrees. The humidity is all the way down to 60%. That is nice. It is just a lovely day, and please let it be lovely for the rest of the day. I have such bad luck when I say it's a great day. It ends up being later in the afternoon just pouring, but we'll have to see how things go. And there's going to be a segment on the weather and why it is raining during the dry season. And a lot of stories here. I'm not going to get to all of them. If you want to read them yourself, the links are in the description, and so you can just see where I end up, because I'm not sure exactly how far I'm going to get on this. You know, I want to keep this, well, less than 20 minutes, preferably around 15 minutes. No telling how long actually it takes me to talk about this stuff. So that's how that goes. Okay, let's get into the first story. Ferry accident in Bali Strait sparks calls to improve Indonesia's maritime safety. Last week's sinking of the Tunu Pratama Jaya ferry in the Bali Strait has left at least 8 dead, dozens missing, and the nation demanding answers. The ferry, which departed from the port in Java on July 2nd, reported a leak just 24 minutes into its journey. Within the hour, the vessel lost all power and capsized. 30 people have been rescued, but many more are still unaccounted for. Indonesia's lawmakers are sounding the alarm. Irene Yusiana from Commission 5 of the House of Representatives says something is seriously wrong with our system. In just 11 days, 3 separate ferry incidents occurred in the same waters. On June 22nd, a ship ran aground off Gilimanuk. The next day, Agung Samudra 9 faced a similar issue. Fortunately, there were no casualties in those cases. Irene has called for a full audit of all ferries operating in the Bali Strait, checking safety protocols, crew training, and real-time compliance. Another concern? The passenger manifest. Gerinda lawmaker Bambang Sukartono criticized current regulations that allow vehicles, not people, to be ticketed. As a result, many names are missing from official records. 2 recovered bodies and multiple survivors weren't even listed in the manifest. Families are coming forward, reporting loved ones on board who were never officially recorded. Maritime experts are also weighing in. Kore Sutomo, head of Indonesia's Ferry Operators Association, says the government must invest in modernizing the fleet, yes, through financing, incentives, and better shipbuilding. But the underlying message is clear. Maritime safety in Indonesia is broken, and emergency response alone isn't enough. Each ferry carries dozens of lives. Proactive regulation, modern equipment, and real accountability are urgently needed. In the last decade, this is the 3rd major ferry disaster in the Bali Strait. In 2016, Rafaelia 2 sank, 7 dead. 2021, Unishi capsized, 7 killed, 18 still missing. And now, Tunu Pratama Jaya joins this tragic list. As search teams continue their mission, and I think this is day 7, Indonesia faces tough questions. How many more tragedies will it take before real change comes? And stay tuned for updates on this as the story develops over the following weeks. And now on to the second main story, and talking about Raja Ampat again. I talked about this a few weeks ago about the nickel mining. And, well, a lot of stories in Jakarta Post today, 3 of them. Unfortunately, they're behind a paywall, so you can't read the other two. I'm going to take the lead story and talk about that. Slitting open Earth's skin, mining divides damages Raja Ampat. At a quiet harbor on Gag Island, southwest Papua, a fully loaded barge carrying nickel ore has been stuck for weeks, not because of mechanical issues, but because of a nationwide backlash against mining in one of the Earth's most biodiverse regions. The Indonesian government has halted all mining in Raja Ampat, revoking most permits amid rising global concerns over the environmental impact of nickel extraction in this ecological treasure. And it is gorgeous. I've been there 4 times. Last time, unfortunately, 2017, before the nickel mining started. Only one mining operation on Gag Island has survived the permit purge, but even that is under heavy government scrutiny, with workers and residents left in limbo. And interestingly enough, the company is state-owned. Gag locals, most of whom work for the state-owned company PT Gag Nickel, are desperate for clarity. The mine still pays its workers, but layoffs are rumored if the suspension continues. Many here support the mine as it provides livelihoods in this isolated region. Mining on Gag began long before the recent nickel boom triggered by President Jokowi's 2020 export ban on raw nickel and push for Indonesia to become a hub for electric vehicle battery production. But not everyone agrees. Across the archipelago, many islanders oppose mining, especially the strip mining methods used in the area. These techniques involve clearing forest and topsoil, creating massive surface holes, and dumping sediment-laden waste that threatens coral reefs and marine life, the backbone of the region's ecotourism economy. You take care of nature, then nature will take care of you, says Maria Marlins Dewitt, a 24-year-old tourism business manager and member of the Maya tribe in Wayago. Maria and her clan live near Kalibiru, a sacred river used in rituals and now a popular tourist destination. Her uncle, who opened Kalibiru for ecotourism, describes strip mining as mutilating the Earth's skin, warning that it would destroy both the environment and the economic future of the community. Yet, despite Indonesia's legal protections for customary land rights, companies like PT Nurham were granted mining permits on tribal land without the consent or even the knowledge of local clan leaders. But patriarchs like Musa and his brother Alfred say they were never asked and that the company's permit violated their ancestral rights. Musa argues that the land doesn't just belong to them, but to the world, Indonesia and Papua, and must be preserved for future generations. Raja Ampat is facing a crossroads: industrial development versus ancestral land and environmental protection. Can Indonesia balance its global ambitions with local voices and ecological integrity? What happens next will define the future of one of the last untouched paradises on Earth. And so mining is a very controversial issue here in Indonesia, trying to balance economic development with protecting the environment and local people's rights to their ancestral lands. And what about Bali tourism and the traditional ways to make a living? As Bali becomes more and more developed on tourism, what happens when we have these natural disasters, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, tsunamis? Well, I haven't had a tsunami in Bali in a long, long time. Or just people deciding, I've had enough of Bali, I'm gonna go somewhere else. So what about traditional ways to make a living? Bali continues agriculture push on shaky ground. Bali is actively trying to diversify its economy away from tourism by boosting its agricultural sector, aligning with national goals for food self-sufficiency. This initiative is part of Bali's 2025-2030 development strategy and has received support from the central government, including a recent MOU with Singapore on food safety and agricultural technology. However, several challenges hinder this agricultural push. Competition for tourism. Despite efforts to encourage youth to shift to agriculture, many Balinese youth are still drawn to the quicker earnings in tourism. Lawmakers are urging a move to non-tourism sectors, citing issues like safety concerns and layoffs in the hospitality industry. Land conversion and water scarcity. Unchecked tourism development is leading to significant land conversion from agricultural use to hotels and villas. This, in turn, exacerbates Bali's water crisis, impacting farms downstream and straining traditional irrigation systems like the UNESCO-recognized Subak. Many young Balinese are hesitant to pursue farming due to high investment costs, physical demands, climate change concerns, and a perception that it's not financially sustainable. Farmers often face low selling prices due to reliance on middlemen and a lack of direct market access. And one of the ways that issue has been solved in Korea is to hook farmers up online, and people can buy directly from the farmers and they can ship things out. It's an interesting system, and it seems to be working in Korea. Anyway, let's continue. The traditional Subak system struggles to provide water to both residential areas and hotels, and during rainy seasons, waste contaminates agricultural water supplies. Pests are also a growing problem. Despite these hurdles, there are optimistic efforts and innovative approaches, like Cool Young Farmers, PMK. Founded by A.A. Gede Agung, PMK promotes tech-based organic farming, has seen recent production costs reduced by up to 70% through digitalization, AI, and AR. Pak Agung believes in Bali's potential for tropical fruit exports and is working to empower young farmers to maintain their land and integrate agriculture with tourism, even developing a platform that can produce tourism as a bonus. My Organic Farm, Bali. Pakadek's community-led farm in Gianyar focuses on regenerative agriculture and leverages tourism by offering organic farm experiences to visitors. Recognizing the limited land for traditional agriculture, My Organic Farm aims to creatively combine agriculture, environment, culture, and tourism. And, well, I hope this succeeds. People for a long time have been saying that the economy needs to diversify, but looking for that quick tourist buck, build more hotels, build more villas, build more restaurants, goes on and on and on. And next segment, if you've been traveling on the Singaraja to Denpasar Road, you know it is a problem. Badah, Denpasar-Gilimanuk Main Road collapses. Vehicles from Gilimanuk are being directed to pass through Singaraja Route. Yes, look at that picture. Look at that hole in the road. Pak infrastructure. What is going on with the roads in Bali? Infrastructure. The collapse of half of the Denpasar-Gilimanuk Road is precisely in front of Bajera Market in Tabanan. Tabanan Police were forced to divert traffic from Gilimanuk Jembrana to pass through Singaraja towards Bedugul and Denpasar. We have enormous trucks all over the city now. Head of Traffic Unit of Tabanan Police said the diversion of traffic flow on the Gilimanuk Denpasar main route is for the safety of all because it's very dangerous for your road users, especially heavy vehicles carrying goods. The road in front of the market, he said, has half collapsed due to rain on Sunday night. It is no longer passable and requires a quick repair process. The size of that hole looks like it's going to be more than quick. The traffic diversion is for six-wheeled vehicles and above. They are not going to be allowed to pass through the Tabanan route to Denpasar. So they are advising truck drivers to use alternative routes to get to Denpasar, namely from Gilimanuk to Singaraja and Bedugul and down into Denpasar. And if you've taken that road, you know how windy it is, even with the bypass there, the shortcut. It is windy, and wow, traffic is backed up. I saw a video yesterday. Nothing was moving there except motorcycles. And my son, going home after being here for my youngest granddaughter's first birthday, said it took him hours and hours to get through. He said, "You would not believe the traffic, Dad." The traffic diversion will be enforced until repair process can be completed. According to the police, we have coordinated with the East Java Bali National Road Regional Office, then with Jembrana Police, Buleleng Police, and Badung Police regarding traffic diversion. Pak Anton added that half of the collapsed road can still be passed by minibuses and two-wheel vehicles. However, his party still applies the open-close system. So you go here, everybody stops going that way, and then it starts again the other way. I've been in that kind of situation. It can take a long time. And what about the weather? So we're going to talk about the weather. BMKG's explanation of heavy rain triggering floods in Bali during the dry season. Light to heavy rain has poured down on several areas in Bali in the past 2 days. In fact, flooding has occurred in several areas, resulting in fatalities. In fact, Bali has entered the dry season in July. Right, why do we get rain? Climate change? The Meteorology, Climatology, and Geophysics Agency, BMKG, revealed several factors that cause rain during the dry season. One of them is because of the Southern Oscillation Index rose by 11.2, which resulted in an increase in convective patterns in parts of central and eastern Indonesia. I have a friend who is a meteorology person. Maybe he can explain this to me later. The sea surface temperatures around the Bali area range between 26 and 30 degrees. The sea surface temperature anomaly value is monitored at up to 2 degrees Celsius, where there is potential for evaporation in the waters of Bali, according to BMKG, regional Denpasar forecaster. Eka explained that other factors were also caused by the weakening of the Australian monsoon winds, which increased air humidity. Yeah, those Australians. There are atmospheric phenomena, namely the equatorial Rossby and Kelvin waves that have influenced the increasing formation of clouds in the Bali region in the last few days. BMKG predicts the weather in Bali over the next 3 days will be generally cloudy. This is reported from yesterday, Tuesday. However, there's also potential for a light to moderate rain that is not evenly distributed in some areas of Bali. Previously, heavy rain hit several areas in Bali starting on Sunday until early Monday morning. High-intensity rain in the afternoon triggered waterlogging on protocol roads, residential areas, and paralyzed the Denpasar-Gilimanuk National Route, as I just talked about. In fact, 2 people were reported dead after being swept away by flash floods in Saraya village in Karanasem. Okay, and now on to some happier news. Chinese tourists dominate tourist visits in Buleleng. Buleleng's tourism market segmentation has shifted in the middle of the year. Data from the Buleleng Tourism Office noted that the number of foreign tourist visits until June, up through June, was dominated by Chinese tourists to replace foreign tourists from several European continental countries. As of June 2025, the Buleleng Tourism Office recorded 31,714 foreign tourist visits. Boy, not much compared to the South. The largest number of foreign tourists was from China, 15,829 people, followed by foreign tourists from France, India, Russia. We've got Russians up here now and Indians. Okay. And several countries in Europe, America, and Australia. Head of the Buleleng Tourism Office, Gade Dodi Sukma Activa Askara, a lot of names, said yesterday that the number of visits by foreign tourists from China became a new trend in Buleleng tourism, because previously the Buleleng market was dominated by tourists from European countries. Indeed, we in North Bali have not been able to match South Bali. So far, tourists have concentrated in South Bali because they feel that access there is easier. And that is something, an interesting point. It's often said that, and it's one of the reasons why people want to build this new Bali airport up here in Buleleng. But this is a significantly different place than down in South Bali. We don't have waves, we don't have white sand, we don't have malls, we don't have all of that, those cool things that tourists these days like, big beach clubs and stuff. And so it's a significantly different population that come up here looking for different things. One, some peace and quiet, and getting away from the craziness that you see down in Canggu, Uluwatu. Anyway, many Chinese tourists come in groups, most of them from Shenzhen. Shanghai, according to Pagdodi, the change in the trend of Chinese tourists is due to changes in the tour scheme from travel agents. Chinese tourists now prefer to charter planes to avoid crowds and land at Juanda Airport in East Java. Then they choose to travel to Mount Bromo, and then on to Lovina to enjoy dolphin tourism. At the end of their last tour, they will head to Denpasar to return to their home country via Nurai Airport. Okay, now I hadn't heard this before. That is very interesting. We welcome this opportunity enthusiastically to increase visits. We will intensify tourism promotion to increase the number of visits and length of stay in Buleleng. We hope that the Banyuwangi Lovina fast boat will really be realized to achieve this target. Boats in Indonesia, I have some questions about that. The Banyuwangi-Lovina fast boat will cut travel time and make accessibility easier. If currently the trip from Banyuwangi to Lovina using the Banyuwangi-Gilimanuk crossing route takes 1.5 hours, after that it still takes 2 hours of land travel to get from Gilimanuk to Lovina. And so this fast boat is going to speed that up. And that is about all the time I have. An interesting story that I wanted to do, and you can read this, and I'll just give you. In Panchasari, up in the Bedugul area, right, it's been invaded by pythons. They have caught up to 20 pythons in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, there are pythons all over, and people are being careful now, not going out fishing at night and doing other things at night because, well, they don't want to get eaten. And so if you want to read that story, well, the link is down below. Okay, that is it for today. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Take care. And I will see you next Wednesday. Have a great week.